Well, hello everybody. Welcome to the very first Pedalshift Live. The light is a little hot, so I'm actually going to kind of do this a little on the fly. This is super experimental, as if you haven't figured that out yet. So how's that? How's that looking? A little bit better, a little bit better. So for this episode, that's actually terrible. I'm going to keep working on that. So the trick with one of these things is that you can't go live until you're live. And so when you do the lighting and stuff, it looks great. When you do the actual setup, not so much right now. So everybody bear with me for a moment here while I try to make this a little less awful. All right. Hey, I think that looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. Welcome. This is going to be episode 108 of the Pedalshift project. And I'm really excited to give this a shot, see what we can make out of this. Who the hell knows? I'm excited because I can see in my camera screen there when people say hello. So Mark Van Ram, hello to you, sir, and good evening and good early morning if you are joining from Europe. The curvature of the earth thing kind of makes this a little bit more difficult for me to actually pull off. But, oh, Australia, you win the distance award at Biro. Again, you know, you've listened to this show, you know I'm constitutionally incapable of pronouncing things correctly. So, lunchtime in Australia, down under. Welcome, mate. Am I allowed to say that? I'm going to try. So anyways, the idea here is that we're going to do this live. Obviously, you're all here. And I'm going to be recording episode number 108 of the show. That is going to require me not to be looking at you so much and more looking here. So you'll forgive me when I'm not looking at you directly when I'm actually doing the show. When I do record the show, I tend to do it in one kind of awesome open shot. Occasionally the dogs will sometimes make an interruption, or I will dramatically stumble over words. So I will actually stop and you'll get to see my wonderful flubs in real time. That, however, will be edited out of the actual podcast. So you will get a chance to see the actual sausage being made here. You'll get to see me talking into the microphone and other exciting things like that. But I thought I would start off, hello, by the way, Paul, let's see, I want to catch up on all of this. So we had Mark, we had a Biro down in Oz, Tom Beninati, hello, thank you, sir, thank you for the good luck, and Paul Culbertson, all friends of the show, all Pedalshift Society members, thank you, I get to do that. I will do the live thank yous for the Pedalshift Society members as well, so I'm super excited about that. The one thing that I really wanted to do was I wanted to have this, that's hard to do this. I wanted to have that screen, see backwards, can't even do this right. I wanted to have that screen to be live and have that big beautiful image, but no such luck. So you get the iPad basically here with that little Pedalshift Live. Oh, by the way, maybe we can get a vote here. Do you like Pedalshift Live or the Pedalshift Project? Feel free to vote in the chat box while I continue to talk. We are going to, in the next few minutes, doing a little bit of light banter as we get more people in the room. We're up to 20 already, which I'm going to be honest, this is unexpected. Thank you all for joining. I'm really excited. We'll be starting the live show, or excuse me, we're starting the live show. We'll be doing the actual recording of episode 108 in a couple of minutes, but I thought we'd do a little bit of banter, a little witty banter before we get the show going. So here we are. I'd love to know where everybody is joining us from. I see somebody from Costa Rica just signed on. My lovely girlfriend Kimberly is down there leading a yoga retreat, so that's pretty exciting. I see Vince LaGreco, Rob Ray from Williamsport, PA, home of the Little League World Series. Rob, awesome. Do I keep working or do I listen to Pedalshift? Well, Fred, I'm telling you, you have my permission to take off the rest of the night. I'm just saying, take it off, or the afternoon, depending on where you're at. Fred Craven in Dallas, Texas, outside Addison. We got that, so that's pretty great. I'm excited about that. Valley Forge, PA, I believe day after President's Day. That's a pretty significant place here in the States, so that's awesome. Vince, that is you, awesome. Louisville, Kentucky from Clara. Clara, thank you so much for joining from beautiful Louisville. Freeport, Maine, David Cobb. Seattle Hotel for Paul, awesome. That's great. We love all of that. I should mention here at the cabin, I'm in a lovely, beautiful West Virginia. I've talked about this place for a while now. This is sort of my little getaway because Kimberly is down in Costa Rica leading that yoga retreat. I decided to work out here for the entire week, so it's kind of exciting. That, of course, also means that I'm a single parent of three pugs, and I've got a cat here as well. So it's entirely possible you may get the mayhem that I get during most times of day with these animals, but somehow, through some miracle, maybe they knew that Pedalshift Live was starting, They're all asleep right now. That will not last. Oh, but I put the cat in a room. Trust me, you don't want the cat around. Let's see, what else? More folks checking in. Tom Beninati from snowy Southeast Portland. Trivia, I used to live in Southeast Portland. I saw very little snow during my time there. I understand it's you're getting 2 to 3 possible inches here. Make sure that you do not eat your arm. Make sure you've got the bread and the milk and all of that. I think you'll do fine, everybody in Portland. I know what happens in Portland when there's snow. It's not a pretty sight. We got 3 inches of snow here, just over my shoulder, in fact, as I gesture. And it worked out pretty well, and it melted the next day. Today, it was a balmy 72 degrees here in West Virginia. Ditto in DC. It's been like that on the East Coast. It's kind of crazy. I'll take it. It sounds pretty good to me. Let's see, who else we got? 2 to 3 apocalyptic inches, according to Tom. It's pretty awesome, Tom. Stay safe. What I think that you should do is I think that you should join me in popping open a fine beverage. This is a local beer, I think-ish. Okay, we got to get that. It's now, I'm not sure what type of beer this is. Can anybody tell me? Oh, it is on the side. It is an IPA. It is Big Timber Brewing Company from here in beautiful West Virginia. It is from Elkins, West Virginia, which is, of course, nowhere near here. This is, I'm in the Eastern Panhandle right here. Beautiful biking area. It's about 7 miles from here to the river and a dodgy kind of crossing across the river so that you can get to the C&O, which is, of course, as you all know, one of my favorite places to bike. So I'll be popping this open now. This is dangerous. I'm going to be honest, I don't drink beer too often when I do the pods, but, you know, here we are. Brock Dittis is in the house. Brock, in honor of you, I opened up a beer. Actually, I was going to do that anyways, but thank you for joining. It's awesome to see you here. I believe you're in Portland, Oregon as well. Softer lighting for the next one. Yeah, no kidding, man. I'm just going to dodge that down. Ooh, is that better? I think that might actually be a little bit better. I actually have a napkin over it to diffuse the light, and it is doing pretty well. Brock, we were talking about your snowstorm in Portland there. I know it's going to be 2 to 3 inches. We're all praying for you. We're all just hoping that only the best things can possibly happen. All right, and Fred says this is better, so we're gonna roll with this. I think I might even have some overlights on, which accentuates my hair loss, my male pattern balding. So I'm super excited about that. Beer choice, like I said, local beer, West Virginia beer. It is available in your local Walmarts here in West Virginia, so I'm super excited about all of that. I wanted to, before we jumped into the show, we're getting into about 8-10 minutes. I want to give people time to roll in, the latecomers, all of you out there who are kind of casually coming into a live show. I wanted to mention a few things. First of all, the beer choice. I'm going to have a sip. I've been talking so much I can't even get a sip in. That's a trick when there's only one person talking. All right. Wanted to mention that we have some offerings at the Pedalshift project and pedalshift.net. For years now, I've been offering tour journals. I want you to go check those out. It's a good way to support the show. If you're not already a Pedalshift Society member, or you wanted something, well, I don't know, a little tangible to take away from your support, I've got 8 different volumes of that, including Western Pennsylvania, the Pacific Coast. I've got all sorts of cool stuff, and it's just documenting all of my tours. Go check those out. They're a few bucks, and it's basically me yakking into a microphone real time. Sort of like now, but with less video. Also, I just kicked off bicycle tour consulting, something that has been requested in the past, a little, kind of a deeper dive into things. So if you're interested in something like that, you can go check that out at pedalshift.net/consulting. End of advertisement. Okay. So now we are going to jump in. We've got 23 folks in the room. I wanted to welcome you all just to go to the top and review things. We're at the end of our witty banter section. I'm not sure if I was successful in the wittiness of said banter, but what we're going to do next is we are going to jump into recording episode 108, and then I'm going to include a few cool, exciting announcements as a result of episode 108. There's not one that I promised before, but 2 cool announcements that are going to be coming in this episode. I am not going to be looking at you while I do this. I'm going to be looking more here. Because I think if I'm talking like this into the microphone and staring at you, that buggy-eyed look, it would be a little off-putting. So we're going to do that. And then at the end of the show, people are still interested and want to do a little Q&A action. You'll be in the chat room. You can throw some questions at me. Totally awesome. We'll make that happen. If you have to leave and you are just kind of done with all of this, you're sort of like, I can listen to this on Thursday, yo. That's cool. This is going to be available both as a video, I hope, assuming YouTube saves it, and also as, of course, the audio, which is going to be coming out as usual Thursday, 7 a.m. Eastern Time. And I know a lot of you are sitting there hitting refresh, 7 a.m. Eastern Time, especially you in Australia because it's lunchtime. All right, so we're going to get going here. We're going to be doing this live show, and you get to see the sausage being made, as I said. It's not pretty. It's not that exciting. You're basically seeing the whole thing. By the way, I'm so bummed. I have an orange mic cover for this particular microphone, and I left it in DC. If I had had some foresight, I would have brought that, but no orange. You're seeing lots of other orange around, including, is that the Brompton? Preview, preview, preview. Thank you, Fred. Go Orange. See, you people are good people. That's all I have to say. All right, so here's what we're going to do. A little bit of sausage making. When I do the pod, I have to get what we call some room noise. If you've ever been on the podcast, a few of you have, hello, you know that I have to get a little bit of a sample. And what that does is it cuts some of the audio that is sort of like that hiss, that weirdness. I get rid of that. So you'll forgive me. I'm going to take about a 5 to 10 second pause, and I'm going to look really strangely at some notes that are in front of me, and you all are going to have to wait. 26 people, thank you so much for joining. I'm super stoked about this. I expected about 4 or 5 of you, so you're all good people. We'll see how this all goes. I hope this has been somewhat enjoyable so far. Let's actually talk about bicycle touring. Let's get it going. Oh, and one other thing. If you were expecting me to have some kind of fancy system where I had, let's see, actual sound effects, you know, the music and things like that, I am sorry, you were sorely mistaken. That is all done in post, so we're going to have to do that, well, in post. So if you would like to have the full experience of all of that, frankly, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be coming Thursday at 7 a.m. So you're just going to get the raw me, and I have to apologize for that as well. All right, I'm going to take a sip of beer. Again, if people were expecting excitement throughout all those, this is podcasting, y'all. Okay, we're going to take about 5 seconds. I'm going to check the dogs. Dogs are looking good. Gizmo's good. Kimberly, Gizmo's good. And Mookie's under the covers, so the odds of a dog attack are very low tonight. You think I'm kidding people, but I'm not. And Bellstar, of course, is asleep and not in my lap, which is a complete shock. Okay, so 10 seconds of silence, and then we're going to get this thing going. Again, thank you for joining. Greetings and welcome to another edition of the Pedalshift Project. The Pedalshift Project is a series of conversations, thoughts, and experiments around the bike touring lifestyle. From tips and tricks to ideas on how to ride your ride, let's shrink the world by bike. Show notes and more are available at pedalshift.net/108, and you can email the show, pedalshift@pedalshift.net, or call the voicemail hotline, 202-930-1109, and you can check out Pedalshift on all the socials as well. I'm going to take a quick look at the camera and say, we are live, baby, live here for episode 108. Hello, everybody. Thank you all for joining. Thank you for joining in podcast land as well. This is the first time I've ever done a live show, so this is kind of exciting. On this episode, this has been the big secret of basically 108. I'm going to be unveiling my Puget Sound Brompton mini tour. Yes, you heard that right. I'm going to be doing a long weekend tour on Puget Sound. And you can hear Gizmo in the background because, of course, once I start podcasting, the dog starts going. So this is where we're going to call it time out here on the actual podcast. You won't hear any of this because Gizmo's pugs. That's exactly right. Come here, buddy. This happens about 5 to 7 times an episode. I'm hoping it'll be a little bit less. It's entirely possible. There he is. Say hi, Gizmo. Gizmo, as you may see, is a little bit jacked up. He's a good kid. He's our newest addition. He's got one eye, and he's very sweet, but obviously he wants to be a part of the live show. The other dogs are asleep, and we'll continue. Maybe we'll kind of back it all up. On this episode of the podcast, we are live, baby, live for episode 108 of the very first Pedalshift Live offering, and I'm unveiling my Puget Sound Brompton mini tour for this episode. It's super exciting. I have been putting this together over the last, I'd say a couple of weeks or so, and I'm really excited to share that with all of you right now in this episode, this mini-sode of the show. If you would like to see some more video of me talking into a microphone, and including some witty banter and maybe some unedited things like, say, my dog Gizmo barking like he just did. But you didn't hear that on the podcast, did you? No, you did not. But you do if you watch the live feed, like approximately 21 people are doing right now. So that's super exciting. This is like a time machine kind of a thing that we're talking about. This is gonna be a little looser of a show probably as a result. So I hope you all enjoy as I share this exciting news. Let me start off by saying that I have been wanting to do another Brompton ride, Brompton tour for a while, but I haven't. I haven't in the last couple of years. The last time I did one, as you may recall if you've been listening to the show, is going back a couple of springs ago. It was 2 Aprils ago, and I took the relatively new Brompton across the country and went to Big Sur and really tested out the low gearing of that bike. And it went out really well. I was very excited. I was able to get over some of the big climbs in Big Sur and it worked out great. This March, I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be going to the Puget Sound area, and I wanted to do something that really tested the portability of traveling by Brompton. So it's going to be something that, well, I'll get into more detail on all of that as we go along here. The one caveat that I want to say here is that I'm going to pull the plug on this if there's a coastal storm, but not if there's normal rain. March in the Puget Sound area, and I know that I've got a few folks in the live feed right now who can attest to this, not exactly the greatest weather in the world, but also not the worst necessarily. It's likely it's going to have some rain every day. It might actually be a little bit on the cold side. And so I'll be kind of taking all of that into factor. But if there is not a real coastal storm, I'm intending to ride through this. I'm only going to be riding for about 3 days for all of this, but a really fun 3 days. And I think that factoring in the Brompton elements of all of this, I think this is going to be a really cool tour, and I'm excited to share this with all of you. So let's see, how is this going to start? The reason why this is happening is I have a trip set for Seattle for a week in early March. And so I thought, well, I've got a bunch of things that I want to do over in the Northwest. I'm planning on coming down to Portland, of course, I usually do. And, I thought, why don't I see if I can squeeze in a ride in the early part of the week? So after doing a bit of research and kind of getting to the point where I was really interested in doing something having to do with the Brompton, I came up with a crazy-ass transit plan. For those of you who are interested in the minutia of how one gets from one place to another, here we go. So the Brompton and the setup that I have is going to be even lighter than in the first tour that I did with this. I've really pared things down. I've upgraded some of my gear. I now don't have as heavy of a sleeping bag. I now have a better pad. Everything is much smaller. So what I was able to do was get everything down into a much more manageable package to carry, because that's the one thing that I found that was kind of difficult during the California ride. It was difficult once I took everything down and apart and had to carry things or roll things. And that was the thing that I wanted to try to be able to improve upon for this one. So I'm still rocking the Pathless Pedaled patented backpack dowel trick. So it's up on the back of the bike. And folks who are with the live show, I'm gonna look at the camera right now. That's the bike in the back. I'm gonna lean away from the microphone. See, there it is. So we're gonna look at that in the post show. So you'll get to see it a little bit better. On the front of the entire bike, I've got a brand new system, and I'll be showing that off. I've got a video that'll do a better job of showing that off for you all. A new system, and it carries better. That was the thing that I was running into with my Ortlieb trick, and we talked about the dowel trick. This is the Ortlieb trick. And it held a lot. It was waterproof, but it didn't carry very well. I don't know about any of you who have Ortlieb back rollers, but when you use the shoulder strap, the weak point is the fact that it is using those lousy plastic buckles and they're weight supporting. And I found that that was a really bad way to carry a relatively heavy bag. So I've got a new system, new setup, not as waterproof, but I've got some ways of dealing with all of that. So that's the excitement that I've got with sort of the bike setup. Things are a little bit lighter, a little bit better, a lot more manageable in terms of getting around. And that is really, really good because I have got a, I've got a planes, trains, and automobiles, or buses, if we want to be more specific, kind of route to get me from DC to Potlatch State Park. I describe it in my show notes, because I can see them right here, as a crazy-ass transit plan. So my plan is, I've got an 8 a.m. flight. I would love to be able to bike to a national airport in DC. It's just on the other side of the river from where I live in DuPont Circle, DC. It's not a very long bike ride, but I am not a morning person. And in order to get to an airport at 7 a.m., to be able to get my stuff together, that would require me to be leaving in the 6 o'clock hour, probably a little bit earlier. So it's more likely that I'm going to be doing a car share or relying on my lovely girlfriend to drop me off. She doesn't know this right now, but I don't know, maybe she'll do it. It'll be great. So in any event, either bicycling or getting a ride to National Airport. Now I'll be on Alaska Airlines. Alaska Airlines is kind of great for flying with bikes. I've talked about this on the show. One of the things that I thought about was actually bringing the full-size bike with me, because I can fly that for free now. I happen to be an MVP member, MVP Elite or whatever it is. I'm like, I got superpowers because I flew to the Northwest a lot last year. So now I can check 2 free bags. One of those bags can be a bike and it's free. Kind of cool. But I'm decided to bring the Brompton, so I'm only going to be checking the 1 bag, and it'll be that backpack that, for those of you on the live show, you can see it right there. That's going to be coming in the belly of the beast. The shoulder bag that goes on the front is going to be coming on the it's going to be coming on the plane, and I'm going to fold up the Brompton and I'm going to get it in the overhead, because that's the way you do things when you tour with the Brompton. And it's a lot of fun, and I always love taking a picture of it, and you will see a picture of it in the overhead, assuming they don't make me gate check it. We'll see how that goes. So the flight across to Seattle will get me there just a little bit after 11 a.m. and I have a very tight schedule. I'm not going to kind of belabor it too much, but it's going to be basically a light rail from SeaTac to the ferry terminal. Be taking a ferry to Bremerton across the way there. It's about an hour or so, unless I catch the fast ferry, but I don't want to belabor things with the scheduling on this. From there, I can take 2 different buses that are run by Kitsap County Transit, and that's a bus to a bus, and that will drop me off at Highway 101 on the Olympic Peninsula, not far from something. I should have written this in the show notes. It's a town that's on Highway 101. And then I'll be actually doing some actual bicycling on that first day, a full 10 minutes to the north of there to Potlatch State Park. And that's where I'll be laying my head down for the night. The transit system works so that all of those later things, the ferry to the 2 buses, they're designed to work together according to everything that is on Kitsap County Transit. So we're going to be testing that. We're going to see how that goes. If for some reason I miss any of these transit connections, it's going to be a lot more riding for me on that first day. Something that I kind of didn't want to have to pull off after sitting on a plane for all those hours. So it'll get me to the campground with a couple of hours, or maybe an hour or so until sunset, which will allow me to get the tent up and all that other kind of stuff and relax and basically collapse and go from there. From there, it's going to be 3 days of riding. I'll be going to Lake Sylvia State Park, which I actually should have done the first time I did the Pacific Coast. I actually passed by it and kept going and ended up having some hellacious headwinds while I was trying to get to Bay Center, Washington, and ended up just bonking out in one of the worst hotels that Aberdeen had to offer. And so anyways, Lake Sylvia State Park in Montesanto, I believe is the name of the town there, or Monsanto. You can tell I'm not familiar with this area of Washington State. From there, and Lake Sylvia is supposed to be a really good park. I'm excited to try that one out. I'm thinking of, for my recommendation for the Pacific Coast Tour, making that be a cutoff point, because otherwise the book suggests a really long day in there, and I think that Lake Sylvia is a good cutoff, so it'll be interesting to check it out. I'll take some pictures and some video and stuff like that, and you guys can all see that as well, you folks. Bay Center, Washington is going to be the next stop. Now, there's a couple of different options, and it just sort of depends on what I'm feeling there. Bay Center's got a KOA, and it's also got, I believe it's called Pioneer County Park. I think it's one of the county parks that is kind of a good option in those areas. It's another county park up in the other side of the island from Friday Harbor in the San Juan Islands. It's a really good stop to do that. So I'm really excited to go there. The KOA actually is kind of nice, and I know I kind of diss on KOAs, but it actually was pretty good the last time I was there. So if I'm needing a shower, if I'm needing, excuse me, laundry, something along those lines, then I will be staying at the KOA. If I want kind of to be on the water, Pioneer County Park is where I'm going to be. I don't think they've got showers. So that is what I am going to check out. So Bay Center, the next day I'm going to be going to Astoria, and I'll be riding into Astoria triumphantly, probably in the rain. And there is an afternoon bus that'll get me to Portland, and where I'll be spending the next couple of days from there. So not a crazy trip, not a very long trip, but it's a nice long weekend, or actually it's pre-weekend. I'll be finishing up in the weekend, be starting on a Wednesday if I recall correctly, and riding Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and then I'll be in Portland later that evening, and I get to hang out with family and maybe some friends as well. So that should be a lot of fun before I go back up to Seattle and fly out middle of the following week. So that is the excitement. That is sort of the overall idea for the ride, and I think that it's something that I've been sort of, as I've been packing things up, I've been getting a little bit more excited more and more as time has gone by. So, you know, sometimes I think that when I come up with tours, I think that they're a terrible idea. I kept looking at what the possible weather was going to be like in the area, and it could be dropping into the 30s at night, and it could be raining all day, every day. But frankly, it sounds like kind of a fun one. And I'm also really excited about the concept of getting really packable and having the ability to get the Brompton onto all of these different transit conveyances. I've talked about fast forwards a lot. I'm hopefully not going to be doing any actual fast forwards other than the sort of very first day that'll get me within a stone's throw of Potlatch State Park. So I'm kind of excited about all that and looking forward to it. I wanted to talk a little bit about my pack list, because I alluded to it before. I really pared down my pack list so that I can get a little bit more, not stealth, but nimble, so that it's really easy to get. The backpack is completely self-contained. I don't have stuff hanging off of it like I did last time. And then the shoulder bag is going to be a lot better as well. So what's going into the bike, I'm going to have, by the way, all this is going to be in the show notes, pedalshift.net/108. So you can check that all out. Number one, I've got the tents, the same tent that you've been seeing in all the images for the last bunch of years. Got a sleeping bag. This is the down sleeping bag that I got, I believe, a year ago, and I've been really, really into it. It packs down so small. Folks, the rumors are true. Down's pretty good for, you know, packability and warmth. It's really great, so I'm a big fan of it. Got a new REI sleeping pad to replace the one that I had to duct tape the valve shut on the last tour. So, yeah, that was probably a good idea. I'm excited about that. Sadly, it's not orange. It's red, but in the right light, looks a little orange. So we'll just have to go with that. In terms of tools and things like that, the Brompton has a pump that is built in on the frame, which is really great. I've got a multi-tool, which I got from Clever Cycles, shout out to you in Portland, Oregon, as a gift a couple Christmases ago. The toolkit fits inside the tube when the bike is folded, and that is a really cool thing to have. And it's got all the different various types of wrenches and things like that that are helpful, even a little patch kit that goes in there. So it's pretty cool. I'm pretty excited about all of that being sort of inside the bike. I am going to bring a spare tube. I am riding on Schwalbe Marathon Pluses on this ride. I've never gotten, I'm going to knock on some wood here right now. I think that came through. Maybe that came through on the live feed, maybe not. Oh, my knocking, of course, woke up Mookie. So can you see Mookie now? There he is. On the live feed, you can see Mookie. That's bad because now that he's awake, things are going to go crazy. But I digress. What I was talking about, the Schwalbe Marathon Pros. I've never had a flat on one of those. I do know that the radial tire wires can get through them. Yes, they can. I can, sir. But I am also hopeful that I won't have to use the spare tube that I'm going to bring. I have been living in mortal fear of getting a flat in the rear tire because, as we all know, you always get the flat in your rear tire because it's a lot harder, right? But with a Brompton, it's one of those funky kind of like things with the internal hub, and I still don't understand it. I've watched, I think, 800,000 YouTube videos by various people changing the rear tire on that, and it still terrifies me. So one of these days I'm going to have to actually do it on my bike, but I am so terrified of doing it. I'm so positive that I'm going to screw it up that I don't want to do it. So let's just say we're not going to get a rear flat on this ride. That would be awesome. But if it happens, I've seen enough YouTube videos that I think I can fake it, and we'll see what happens from there. Additional stuff in the pack list, a spork, because folks, you're a fool if you bring a spoon and a fork. They make these things called sporks. You should bring a spork. I have a plastic spork. I reuse it all the time. I love it. I love the spork. The thing that I was thinking of not doing this trip was not bringing a stove. And then I thought to myself, no, sir, you want coffee every morning, so I'm bringing the stove. I am going to be bringing the old S-bit stove. Now, if you're not familiar with S-bit stoves, they are super light. They are made of titanium, so it is literally a couple of ounces at most. I mean, a couple of paper clips. But it takes those little tabs that are essentially sort of solid alcohol. They are not as good as other types of stoves in terms of how much heat they put out, but it's super light, it's super easy to get through, and I'm not going to have to stress about finding fuel. So I'm excited that that is going to be my stove of choice so that I can have a stove. I'll have the cook kit as well so I can boil some water. I'll bring those via coffees because I do think the one thing too many is to bring my full grinder set and the AeroPress and all of that. I can always stop for better coffee because I'll be going through some towns. Hopefully I can get better than via, but I'll have that if needed. Bandanas, I'm going to be bringing 3 orange bandanas, people, because bandanas, I'm telling you, they're the way to go. They do so many things. I may do a whole episode of the pod on the bandana, an ode to the bandana, because the bandana, it's a good thing. It's the only thing made of cotton that I think that is universally beloved on bike tour, at least by me. Next up, wool sweater. I got a great wool sweater that is a lightweight one. I'm not going to bring the heavyweight one because I would like to do some layers. My newest piece of clothing that I got recently is one of those puffer vests because, as I talked about a few minutes ago, folks, I'm here to tell you, the down stuff, it works really well. So I got a down scrunchable vest that I'm super excited about. I'm going to be bringing that along. It basically folds down or scrunches up to about the size of a softball or even less. It's really light. I think it's a great piece of warm weather clothing to bring. So it's the first time I'll be touring with something like that. Rain jacket and hood because Puget Sound in March. I got a new set of rain pants as well. I'll be bringing those as well. Normally, I bring too many clothes. I've talked about some things here that are some basics that you really, really, really need to bring. I'm going to limit my clothes to basically 2 sets of clothes, which on the Portland side of things is probably going to be a little limiting. However, I'll just do a lot of laundry. So I'm going to bring 2 shirts, a couple pairs of underwear. Is that a little bit of an overshare? Yes, I think it's a bit of an overshare, but 2 pairs of underwear. And yes, I will be changing it, washing. I will, trust me. Rain gloves. I've got neoprene gloves that are really great for the rain. They are lousy for keeping your hands warm otherwise, but they're great in the rain, so I'm going to have those as well. I just glanced at the chat room, which I've been trying to ignore this whole time. Brock, undershare. I like that. That's very solid. Thank you, sir. Just to prove everybody who's listening to this podcast, yes, indeed, we do have a live chat room going on, and they are prolific. I love it. Socks. I'm going to bring a pair of smart wool socks. I'm going to bring a pair of waterproof ones that are made by Showers Pass, which is the same company that does my rain jacket, which I like so much. So super excited about those. They work really well. Toiletry bag, I'll have my usual caffeine tablets, my electrolyte pills, my ibuprofen, you know, breakfast of champions. I'll have a hat with me. I've decided I'm going to be bringing my a cold hat because it's going to be cold at night. And then I'm going to be bringing my vintage Seattle Supersonics hat because I need the Sonics to come back to Seattle so I can root for them again. Undefeated season, though. Undefeated season. That's all I have to say. That's pretty good. Helmet I'm going to be bringing because, you know, I should, and I will. I'll wear it. Batteries and cable. Probably gonna bring 2 batteries with me. It's probably overkill. I probably will only need 1, but I always like to have a little bit of extra because if the weather's nice, I'm planning on taking some more videos so that I can share this all with you. Cables that I need for that, headphones. Okay, here's where I'm being a little bit of a baby. I am bringing 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 different types of headphones for this ride. I'm gonna bring my noise canceling Bose headphones. Oh, they're over there, so I can't, sorry folks on the live feed, I cannot show you them, but I found them on it was in a free box, and I was really, really shocked when I saw them, and I grabbed them immediately, and Kimberly can attest to this. I came in and I'm like all excited about it, and then I open them up and I see that the ear cups were broken. That was the problem, and I'm just like, somebody threw away perfectly good Bose sound canceling headphones because they didn't understand the power of super glue? Fools. So I have a set of free box Bose sound canceling headphones, which I'm going to bring on the plane because I kind of like that. I like having them on the plane. The second pair of way too many headphones is I'm going to bring my Bluetooth earbuds. Why? Because I like riding, when I do ride with them in my ears, I prefer the Bluetooth ones. Why? Because wires suck. They just suck when you're dealing with all of that. So I'll bring the Bluetooth with me. And then finally, wired earbuds for when my Bluetooths go kind of, well, out of batteries. That's what the kids say when they do eventually run out of battery juice. And also in case if I need to make any calls with the microphone that's in that. So not 1, not 2, but 3 pairs of headphones, all of which are perfectly reasonable and very necessary. And I'm not going to wear the noise canceling headphones while I'm riding. I promise you. I'm going to look at the camera again. I promise you, people, on this dog's eye, that I promise not to wear the noise canceling headphones while I ride. That is my promise to you. What else do we have? The iPhone, because I use that as a live camera. I'm looking at it right now, and use it for podcasting and all sorts of great stuff. It's a very helpful thing. By the way, the iPhone 8 camera, oh man, it is really, really good. Pictures that I'm going to have on this tour, way better than any others, I think, unless it's raining and there's terrible scenery, but we'll see how that goes. 3 water bottles. I am now off of the water bladders, and I'm going with 3 water bottles. I don't think water is going to be much of an issue on this trip, so I think everything should be all good. I'm going to be bringing 2 locks because I fear getting the Brompton stolen so much. I've got something, it's a lock out of Portland, Oregon, called Auto Lock. A-O-T-T-O. By the way, Otto is also the name of the Syracuse University orange mascot, so I was really, really into that. And by the way, I got the orange version of that. Again, more oversharing than you all probably needed. I'm also going to be bringing the folding lock as well, just to have the double lock system. There are going to be times when I'm going to have to go into a store and lock up the bike, and I'm just terrified of losing that Brompton. I think that it would be a little bit too tempting of a target, so by double locking it, I'll feel a little bit better for all of that. I think the backpack and all the other stuff that's on it is going to befuddle any would-be thieves, so we'll see how it goes. I'm also going to try to keep the bike with me as much as possible. If I can roll it into stores, I'll do that. Finally, my wallet, because people in the Pacific Northwest require payment for goods and services. I'm told. So anyways, I'm going to take a little bit of a break here and enjoy some fine beer here on the live feed. Again, this is an edit point. Nobody's going to hear this on the podcast, I don't think, unless I put it in. Maybe I could leave it in. Anyways, how you all enjoying this so far? This has been kind of fun. I've been noticing a lot of movement. Brock Dittis, you're a chatty Cathy. I'm just telling you that right now. So I'm gonna keep going. I'm enjoying all of this. And Brock says that Pacific Northwest just started taking cash this past year. That's very solid. The chicken and pie monetary system hopefully is now no longer it's being replaced by cash. That's fantastic. Chickens and pies, man. It's hard to carry them around. All right. Need to put a little bit of extra space in there so that I know that it's an actual. By the way, Gizmo is really loving this. Oh, Cat Caparello, how the heck are you? Good to see you. Pies are hard to bring on bike tours. Do you know? Actually, I have a good story about a pie. Did I tell the pie story about how my pie got eaten by ants in Santa Barbara? And it was the most. It might have been one of the worst things that ever happened to me on a bike tour. It was sort of the worst thing ever. Anyways, I digress. I got a podcast to get to, people. Enough talking about chickens and pies and monetary systems of note. Pugs would be a lousy monetary system, I'm just saying. So I've got a few ads that I also wanted to bring, and as it turned out, I can bring them because I have tons of space, tons of space. Sleep clothes. I always bring a spare set of clothes that are exclusively for sleeping. I'm telling you, people, the cotton t-shirt, your extra pair of underwear, just to get out of your clothes when you are at the end of the day, it is awesome. Even if you aren't going to be taking a shower or something like that, just great to get into some dry clothes, and they are exclusively for sleeping, and that is it. And they come off and you put on other biking clothes the next day. Spare set of pants, because frankly, I think that I'm gonna get wet and it'll probably be a good idea to have two pairs of pants. Second pair will be my quick dries. They are ugly, they are cargo pants, and I do not care for them. I do not want to wear them when at all possible, but I will have them if necessary. Flip-flops or sandals. I believe I've got a pair of biking sandals that may or may not still be usable, or a pair of flip-flops. It may be 38 degrees at night, and flip-flops may be a bad idea, but I like, going back to the sleep clothes idea, I love getting myself out of the shoes and the socks that I've been riding in all day when I get to camp. It feels a lot better, it feels a little more humane. I'm gonna be able to bring those as it turns out. The Faux Pro, my fake GoPro, I believe I'm gonna be bringing that. I often find it to be more trouble than it's worth, but I think I'd like to get some more video on this trip, so I'll be bringing the Faux Pro. And I may bring my good stove just in case one of the towns I go through has the type of butane propane mix, that little canister thing. Sometimes they're hard to find. The stove is so small that it's not a big deal to have it, but I would take it 100 times out of 100 over those SBIT stoves. The SBIT stove is great. I consider it more of an emergency stove than anything else, but for this trip it's going to be what I've got because I can't fly with fuel. And the SBIT tabs, for whatever reason, they get through security. Wait, is somebody recording this? Oh, okay. Never mind, I won't be flying with them. I'll be buying them in the Puget Sound area or something. Okay, setup. Talked about the Brompton. Obviously, we got that. Stealth mode, very, 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 very necessary as you fly and when you're on buses and things like that. Pro tip for you Brompton folks, you cannot get the 16-inch wheels inside the front rack of most of the types of buses out there. So if you end up with a driver that insists that you put the bike on the front rack, you'll be able to show them, hey, yo, this won't work. So that's why stealth mode, and I'll practice my very friendly, hey, pretend this is a stroller. We'll see how that works. The front shoulder bag pannier, I'm going to be doing a video that will be available hopefully in the show notes at pedalshift.net/108 showing that off. A little bit of a hack, use the zip ties, and a friend, Mysterious James's former girlfriend actually hooked me up with this. She's a friend of mine as well. And I have to be honest, it's turned out pretty good. She didn't have need for an over-the-rack style pannier, and I was able to use that to my advantage, and it's going to be great. So I'll be bringing that along. I'll show you that in the video later on. That can hold things that I need for quick stuff. Like, think of it like a handlebar bag. You know, a water bottle, hat, locks, wallet, lights, the tube, things like that. That's all going to be in that. The backpack, I talked about that. We're going to be using the saddle dowel trick as I talked about. Also, both bags are not waterproof, like not at all. And I have rain covers for both of them. We all know that rain covers are useless for the most part. So I'm going to do some redundant waterproofing by doing the old backpacker trick of using a trash bag or a trash compactor bag inside of the backpack as well, and maybe using some Ziplocs as necessary in the other bag. I'm really expecting this to be kind of a wet ride. I don't mind wet rides. I don't love them, but I want to go on this ride. I want to ride in March, and you know, this looks like a fun trip. So my tent has two great vestibules. You've seen it if you've seen pictures of it. Shock, it's orange, right? The two vestibules will allow me to have wet gear to be outside of the tent so I can keep the inside as dry as possible. I'll have the folded Brompton on one side, any wet gear on the other, but of course it's not going to rain because you're getting your winter storm right now, Pacific Northwest, and it's dropping 2 whole inches of snow on the Portland metropolitan area, and we will rebuild. Okay, so normally you hear like a chain thing. Cat, very scary here. Cat, you're from Jersey. You know this is nonsense. You know it's nonsense. But then again, around here, people can't handle it either. All right. So this will be the transition. Oh, by the way, here comes the second piece of news that I'll be sharing. So I'm pretty excited about that. Okay, that's right. You had the Albany thing going on. Oh, yeah. I say. So the next segment is going to be the next episode, which is very exciting for me personally because I got to interview somebody who I've been wanting to interview for a while. And it was really good and it went really well. I did it yesterday. It'll come out not this Thursday, but the following Thursday. It's going to be the episode 109. So here we go. Next up on the show, I want to share a little bit of fun news. We had the big reveal here of the great tour that I'm really excited about. But next week's show, episode 109 of the pod, we've got to chat with somebody that I've been really wanting to chat to for a long time. And it was awesome. Russ Roca from the Pathless Pedaled. And I had a really awesome chat just yesterday as I sit here and record this, but it will be coming out next week. I also did that as a video as well. Now, I don't know if the video turned out because I have not looked at the video yet, but if the video is good, that also will be released on the Pedalshift YouTube channel as well. So I am super excited to be chatting up with Russ. We talked about Bromptons, we talked about touring, we talked about bicycle travel and the future and all sorts of stuff like that. Man, it was fun and it was cool, and I really want to thank Russ for jumping in and doing that. It was really cool. So that'll be coming out episode 109 a week from Thursday. That'll be March 1st, I believe it'll be. Normally that would be an off week, but I'm too excited about this interview. It's coming out. And then we'll take the next week off, I think, or maybe the following week. I'll tell you what, people. I'm not going to commit to my schedule, but I do want to say that there will be an off week somewhere in there so that I can go on a bike tour, which I spent most of this podcast talking about. So that's when the off week will be happening in the month of March. So very excited. Join next week. In addition to, of course, checking out this video from this show, episode 108, over at the Pedalshift YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/pedalshift, probably, I assume. Just go to pedalshift.net and then click on the YouTube thing. It'll be there. You can check out the video for that show. Now we get the chicka thing again, you know, like the gear thing. And now I get to do a live read. I get to finally say thank you. Not finally, but I've been doing it for a while. But I get to say thank you live because some of you are actually in the audience. I'm pointing, you think I'm pointing into nothing. Maybe you see this? At least on my phone, that's where like the number of people are. So anyways, I say thank you for being members of the Pedalshift Society, those that you are. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll be talking about it in a second here. But it helps to support the show. Things like bandwidth and stuff like that, and you know, I'm sort of a solopreneur now. There's a fine line between being an entrepreneur and being unemployed. So that's basically where I'm at right now, and so it's really helpful to have that kind of support. So thank you all for being members of the Pedalshift Society or buying something cool from Pedalshift Plus, the any of that kind of stuff. So thank you so much for that. Anyways, Pedalshift Society. I got to finish this podcast. And then we can do some witty banter and I can show you the bike. All right, here we go. And we like to close out the show as we do every week with a big thank you to all of the supporters of the show through the Pedalshift Society. If you like what you hear, you can help maintain Pedalshift as an independent, listener-supported voice while expanding the offerings. We're talking $1, $2, $5 a month. That helps with the cost of hosting the podcast and the website. You can do it for a bit and cancel anytime. One-shot support is welcome. If you're not into the small monthly thing, check it out at pedalshift.net/society. On to the society. Ethan Georgie, Kimberly Wilson, Caleb Jenkinson, Cameron Lane, Andrew McGregor, Michael Hart, Josiah Matthews, Keith Nagel, Brock Dittus, Thomas Skada, Seth Krieger, Marco Lowe, Terrence Manson, Noah Schroer, Harry Telgadas. See, Harry, you always get me every time. You don't know this, but you get me every time. Harry Telgadas, John Sikorsky, Richard Killian, Chris Barron, Brian Wren, Mark Van Ram, Brad Hetwell, Paul Mulvey, Stuart Buchan, Todd Stutz, Mr. T, Roxy Arning, Nathan Poulton, Stephen Dickerson, Vince LaGreco, Ruth Divorcey, Michelle Miller, Matthew Lewis, Michael Baker, Billy Crafton, Paul Culbertson, Scott Culbertson, Matt Perry, Danielle Jepson, Cody Florchinger, Tom Beninati, Bobby Ruppel, Roy Everett, Greg Braithwaite, John Mayer, William Cairns, and Sandy Pizzio, and all folks who help the show make the show happen. I'm going to record that last part again because that was terrible. And all anonymous, and I do this every week. I swear. All anonymous and all anonymous. I didn't write it down. I do this every week and I forget. All anonymous and something. I say something the same every week. Okay, well, that's my brain freeze. I'll do it in post. Hey, everybody. I'm gonna, we'll just let that roll. Hey, everybody, thank you. Thank you for being a part of this. I'm casting shadows on my face here. So, this was kind of fun. How did this turn out? Was this something that was enjoyable, interesting? We're shy of an hour. I figure we'll take about 10 minutes and we can do, like I promised, a little Ask Me Anything, anything like that. Check out for carbon monoxide. Thank you all. Thank you, Vince. I really appreciate that. Kat, thank you. It's so fun to have you involved and back again. Noah, you guys are great supporters. We'll do this again if this seems like it's something that people like. Maybe not every week because, frankly, it is a kind of a stressful thing. I normally do these things without having people like looking over my shoulder. I only have to juggle pugs and cats. So, you know, this is pretty cool. And I barely drank any beer. You know, this is a terrible idea to do a solo podcast and have beer because now I have this like 3/4 or more full beer that is just slightly warmer than normal. So yeah, anyways, it's much easier when I'm on the Spraka podcast or any of the other fine podcasts of note out there. Yes, everybody, drink up, everybody. Thank you for being a part of all of this. Hey, want to take a look at my bike? Let's do that. Okay, I'm gonna put Gizmo on the ground. Gizmo, say goodbye. All right. And let's see here. This may be awkward, so we're going to try this out. All right. And let's see here. We're going to, can I flip the, yes, I can. There we go. We're going to flip that around. All right, folks. Yes, here we go with the bike. And no, I'm glad you liked it. I'm so excited. Here we go. I try to keep it clean, although I do start from time to time there, Brock. Here we go. This is the Brompton in full setup mode. Yes, isn't this exciting? I spent some time doing this. I'm going to turn on some lights here and help make this a little bit easier to see. Just spend a few minutes with this. This is the dowel trick, as we talked about. So this dowel here is zip tied to the back of the Brooks here, and that gives a hanging spot. And as we'll hear next week's show, this was kind of developed by Russ and Laura from Pathless Pedal. At least that's where I found it, and they said that he didn't say it was, he didn't want to take full credit for it, but I'm going to give him full credit for it. The other place where the critical stuff happens is these bungees are built into the rack on the Brompton. And what I do is I cross them around the water bottle. That gives it some lateral hold. And then I cross them here to give it a little bit more niceness, for lack of a better word. So yeah, this is a really good setup. Inside of there, I've got, let's see, the tent, basically most stuff. Now, the real trick for this trip is this guy. So, as you can see, and I'm going to be doing a bigger video on all of this. But, okay. This is, we are truly live here at the Pug household. Wow, that was awesome. Okay, so here we go. That's what we've been dealing with for the last few weeks. Everybody is in good shape. Yes. Okay. Anyways, I'm holding Gizmo right now. Yes, Brock, a pug fight. You guys got to see it live, and I got to like hold on to it in one hand, but it's all good. So, anyways, that's the front bag, and since I don't have a second hand, I'm now holding on to one of the dogs. You can just see this. I'll do the video a little bit better later, but this is that was an unexpected thing to show. The one thing that I really like about this is that the water bottle, the second water bottle, just fits right there, and then that other, the right-hand side, a battery fits there, and that is my strange
Spider-Man-ish looking thing that holds my phone. So that'll be good for directions and things along those lines. The bike is really good. I'm really excited to be taking this. I think a Brook saddle in the rain is going to be not such a great idea, but it'll be what it is. Weight is less, much less than the actual one that I did a couple of years ago, and it is. I haven't done any weight tests on it, so I'll weigh that. I'll let you all know so that I can let you know that. I saw in the chat there, do I carry lights? I do. What I do is I use Portland Design Works that has a great clippable one. So what I'll do is I will clip it here or even up here so that it's nice and high. And it does have a strobe function, but in light of what I've been learning about the blinkiness of lights not necessarily being good for distance perception, I'm running with it solid now. Portland Design Works is the light of choice for me. And I've got an old, very, very bright, not a B scene, but a C style light. The battery will tuck in here, and I'll have it probably right here for when I ride with a front light. I don't usually like to ride in touring conditions with a front light because I don't like to ride in darker conditions. So I will bring it. I will have it because it's possible that I will have to be riding when I am in the dark. I hope not to have it, but we'll see how it all goes. So, anyways, that's that. That's the Brompton. Okay, now we're gonna go back here again. Now you get to see how the sausage is being made. You got to see pug fights. I'll tell you, this was a heck of an episode. Heck of an episode. Here we go. Let's see. I'll set that down. Actually, you know what? We're just going to keep that up. You get to see how the sausage was made. You get to see no pugs were injured in the production of this podcast. No, 0 pugs were injured. Thank God. All right. Let's see here. So, yeah, that's interesting. Have I optimized item placement down? Biro or Biro down under? I'm gonna keep mispronouncing your name until you tell me. Is it like a Euro? Biro. I'm gonna go with Biro. Have I optimized item placement? What I want is always at the bottom. You are so right. I am constant Biro. Thank you. I am always running into trouble with the same thing, but generally speaking, you've got to be much more careful with this bike because I'm gonna jump out of the frame here a little, and the microphone's in the way. There we go. So, as you can see here, you really want the weight to be down on this section of the backpack. Otherwise, if it's way up high, that's super, super high to be handling all sorts of different kind of weight. You'll get a lot of shimmy and whatnot. I try to put the heaviest stuff on the bottom. Just like they say in all the backpacking stuff, it does make a bit of a difference. So the tent poles and things like that, I try to center those, but those go way down. All of the heavy stuff, I've got batteries and stuff like that, that goes in the bottom. Frankly, nothing is really heavy in and of itself other than the tent, but that's why that's going to go at the very, very bottom. So hopefully that answers your question. Noah, I'm assuming I can rewatch the beginning that I missed, tuned in towards the middle. Yes, Noah. This will be available, assuming that YouTube, which it normally does. I've done these before for other people as part of sort of my other life. YouTube does save all of these, and I will put that up. I'm also maybe doing a little edited version. Of course, this is also going to be available as the podcast as normal. You just won't get to see the pug fight, which is really, really off-putting to me right now, can I just say. See? Uninjured pug. Brock keeps giant spaghetti serving spoon. Tom, I'm going to be honest, I don't understand that, but Brock keeps giant spaghetti serving spoon on the bottom. Good. Is that a heavy item, Brock? Is the giant spaghetti serving spoon a heavy item? See here, we got the lag. Can't use the sport because I need both. Oh, fair point. Anyways, well, folks, we're closing in on an hour of your time that you will never, ever get back, ever in your life. I was busy making the podcast and the chat went nutty. Okay,
Well, I'm super excited to see what what this chat room looks like. But this is an hour of your life you'll never get back. And apparently, by popular demand, we may be doing this again. Maybe we'll do this a couple times a year. Maybe we'll do it a little bit more often. We'll kind of see how it goes. I'm looking forward to hearing some feedback on all of that. So shoot me an email, pedalshift@pedalshift.net. We can do that. This is easier than like an in-person thing because y'all are all over the place. I got people from Australia, I got people in Costa Rica, I got people all across this fine country of ours, maybe even Canada. They're just not piping up because they're too good at curling. Now everybody, you know what? You gave up curling tonight to watch this nonsense, and I appreciate that. But I'm going to go watch some curling right now. So on behalf of the uninjured Gizmo the Pug, let's see, the crazy Mookie the Pug, and Belle Star, who was a sweet little girl all night long, and the cat, he's in the other room. On behalf of all of them, thank you so much for joining. Look forward to getting this out to you on Thursday. The video will be up relatively soon on YouTube for those of you who missed the beginning part of it. And again, thoughts and feedback, pedalshift@pedalshift.net. That gets right to me. And we will see you in a week with Russ Ruka from the Pathless Pedal. Super excited to pull that out. So anyways, thanks so much for joining. This is where I awkwardly reach towards my phone and end this live chat. I don't even know how to do it. Oh, the X. The X is probably how you do it.